I'm going to introduce all of our team of experts that we have today. First have Bailey Aro. Bailey is a multi-passionate entrepreneur born and raised in Duluth, Minnesota. She's the founder of 3 companies, Bailey Aro Photography, White Spruce Market, and Cedarbound. As a small business owner for over 12 years, Bailey fell in love with not only the creative side of her work, but also the joys and challenges of building heartfelt brands. In addition, she loves to teach and coach small business owners on mindset, marketing strategy, client experience, and navigating entrepreneur life. She's a fierce believer in the power of community and loves helping others move through challenges, whether it's overwhelm, imposter syndrome, or even moments of defeat. Next, we have Elizabeth Eden. Elizabeth is a photographer and marketing expert serving small businesses in Fargo and beyond. She brings warm energy and a signature aesthetic to every client interaction, whether it's photographing a senior or managing social media for a creative entrepreneur. Pulling from over a decade of experience, she creates timeless yet appropriately trendy images and content. You'll frequently find her traveling the country with her husband Brett and 3 kids, working and homeschooling from the road. Next, we have Nicole Mendoza. Nicole is a professional hype woman and foster cat mom. She's been doing photography since 2017 and has been enjoying every moment of it. When she's not chasing wedding guests down or breaking it down on the dance floor, she enjoys finding and creating content through TikTok and Instagram Reels. Nicole didn't say this, but she's very effectively building her own photography empire in Fargo, and it's been really incredible to watch.
And
Last
effectively.
but certainly not least is my Lady Boss co-founder, Danielle Moe. Danielle is a micro-influencer and also marketing coordinator at Kilborn Group. Danielle is an experienced marketer and entrepreneur with a passion for art, ethics, women's rights, and sustainability. Danielle graduated from Concordia College with a BA in marketing and art. And Concordia is where she met me and where Lady Boss was really born. So I'm so glad to have you here, Danielle, and all of our panelists. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
So we've got a lot of different questions to ask you, and I'm going to have you guys, some of them I'll point at a person, but otherwise you can just answer as you have things to share. Not everyone has to answer every single question. So to start, kind of a fun one, do you have a favorite Instagram post or story that you've done for your business and why, regardless of its reach or engagement? Just what have you liked? Danielle, how about you start?
I have one that I think it kind of changed the way I thought about myself online. But let's see, nearly 6 months ago now, 7 months ago, the Democratic National Committee reached out to me to do a Get Out the Vote campaign and kind of help with voter education, specifically for women that followed me in the 19 to 30 age range. And that was my favorite campaign that I've ever participated in, not because it was paid or it was super creative or anything, but it made me feel like I really did have a platform and people were hearing me and seeing me in a way that I never really imagined having before. So it's super cool to get discovered by brands and things like that, but for something as big and as important as getting out the vote, I was super flattered and I mean super excited to participate in that. So that would be my answer.
I'll go next. Okay, so my favorite current Instagram post. Am I right?
Yeah, favorite one that you've liked. Yeah.
All right. I think this could be a crowd favorite too, but this little guy, his name is Basil. He's not my dog though. Because of Instagram and social media and all these platforms, I was able at like 20 years old start a business in which I didn't expect to expand as large as this room and the egg chairs behind me. So this dog is a gift to my mom, and I'm a first generation American living here in Fargo, North Dakota, and my mom came all the way from the Philippines along with my dad. They're immigrants, and my mom grew up poor, if we're just gonna be honest. Like, I went back home 2 years ago and our kitchen was outdoors with 3 walls, and Our living room had like plastic chairs everywhere. My like cousins slept on the floor or on bamboo beds. There was no mattress. And my mom didn't have much in the Philippines, but she did have family. And she gave that all up. So when she does have children, they would have opportunities like I did today. So when she moved to the United States, she came from nothing and built what she did for my brother and I to have good lives. Because of that, I was able to create this beautiful entity. And like any other kid that's watched their single mom like struggle and do everything that they can, I finally want to give it back to my mom. Like this present, this puppy is like one of my proudest presents I've ever given my mom, and I'm really excited because she deserves it. And it's just another thing for her to love and really nurture in her life. So that's my little thing.
Love that story.
I'll go
Bailey.
next if you want.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, Bailey, you go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. So for us, or for my side of things, for our company Cedarbound, which is a joint venture I have with my husband, we design and build really sweet like glamping cabins. And our business didn't start that way. We originally set out to start a glamping resort in northern Minnesota, and we told people about it. We started an Instagram platform. We were sharing about the process. We thought we were like golden and good to go, but we hit some major roadblocks when it came to zoning, and we ultimately had to pivot. And we did a post about it where we were sitting in front of a little log pile with a letterboard that said everything is figure outable on it. And it was terrifying to hit publish because it felt like we were letting everyone down. We had promised one thing and now we were going to have to completely shift gears. And it was like, cue the tears, because I mean, we had hundreds of messages privately and publicly from people who were just rooting for us. And without even realizing it, we were in the midst of this underdog story, and people love that and they connect with that because they see themselves in it and they are just like there to root for you. And because of that, it served as a springboard for the next phase of our business, because people are like, they're looped into the story and they want to know what happens next. So that was the big one for us.
I love that. I actually started following you I want to say a few months ago. I stumbled on your account and I was like, I need one of these cabins. They are so beautiful.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. I'm currently in Florida by a window with my computer on a box, which is on an ironing board, because that's that's what we're doing today. My favorite post, and Laura, I know you have a daughter, but we just had a baby last November, and I've had two boys. One is 6, one is 4, and so when we found out we were having a girl, I was like over the moon. And this is probably one of my favorite posts. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Aw.
That's my best friend.
So that's Eva and myself, and we went outside in the snow in our backyard and dressed up exactly the same. My sister-in-law gave us this cute little outfit and was like, I saw it and I'm like, it looks like you. So anyway, this is probably going to be my new favorite series because I'm on the lookout for everything that matches my wardrobe for her. And that's on my personal account, but I probably posted on both actually because I'm just so obsessed. Like that shoot was everything for me, and that's my favorite.
I love that photo. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it cracks me up.
So, Bailey, as an owner of multiple businesses, how do you generate content that feels authentic to each business?
This is such a good question. And I'm glad you sent it over beforehand because it gave me time to think and write some notes. Okay, it's multifaceted for sure, but I would say that the main core thing is knowing your brand inside and out. Know your core values, know your purpose, know your messages and your content pillars. You know, be really intimate with your ideal client and who that person is and who you're actually talking to. And then secondly, be crystal clear on the action you want people to take next. Like just having a little bit of this strategy is like golden because you can apply it across multiple different brands. And although the brands may be different in the product that you're offering and the actual like, you know, brand values and messages, it's still, you can still create a system that's somewhat repeatable across multiple channels. So I would say too, creating those structures and routines. When Sarah was talking before, I was like, preach, girl. I mean, there is so much freedom when you create some structures for yourself. And for many of us who are, creatives and we want to be more free flowing and, in the moment, it can feel a bit like, is this a ball and chain to be, having a structured content calendar? I actually think it creates more breathing room and it gives you the ability to focus on the things that are going to move your business forward instead of just having your hair on fire, worrying about what the heck am I going to post today?
Are there any tools that you use? And this is for anyone too, for planning your content.
I currently use Planoly. I'm a visual and I just thought the platform was so pretty and that's why I went with it. And it's like the most amazing thing I've ever added. It's great.
Yeah.
You got me to join Planoly. We're
Yes.
transitioning from Unum, like UNUM.
Yes.
We're transitioning, so it's like a desktop friendly, and therefore like it's really awesome for people who tab Teams. Therefore, they all can access it rather than just like not on a phone. So we're in the like midst of transitioning.
Yeah, we use Planoly for planning out our like Instagram specifically, but then Trello is a magical unicorn. We use that for all of our like content planning, and we can label every single like aspect of that content calendar within there, give them due dates, and it's a free tool as well, which is great.
It wasn't until we've been using Trello for like a little over a year now. And it wasn't until a couple weeks ago that my partner, who started his new job, who's using Trello, I found out I was using it wrong the whole time.
Yay.
Yeah, that was great learning experience. Swim lanes are amazing now, though. Once like you figure it out, like you really have to learn how to organize. And then once you just kind of like make your way through, it's kind of somewhat enjoyable for people who like to cross things off.
For sure.
So Elizabeth, looking through your stories and photos, your followers really feel like they know you and your family just through scrolling through. So can you talk about your process for deciding what types of things you share with your followers and why?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. That's kind of the goal, I guess, of why I share our family and kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And you never really know quite, unless you hear some feedback and stories and stuff like that. But for sharing our kids, I know that's kind of, you're a mom. I know that's kind of an area you have to kind of navigate and decide what you're going to do. And so we have talked and we have said, as if would this embarrass them later on? That's a big thing. And I even know, even though they're 4 and they're 6, like they get embarrassed. And so if there's something that I think is super funny or super cute and I can just tell, they're like, why is everyone laughing? It's like, oh, okay, so we'll skip that. That's going to embarrass them, whatever. And just to kind of protect them, half the time they're like, Mom, post this, like show everyone what I did. But otherwise we just kind of keep that for their sake, because it's not their social media. So anyway, if past the kids, if I want to share something, because I try to do like a lifestyle vibe on my personal account, if it's helpful, that's another like stipulation, or if it's just fun. And some of like the most random things I'll get the most engagement on in stories, and it's funny, but it can be like sharing a recipe, like swipe up for my Pinterest meal tonight, or like we homeschool, like you said. So, I found this really great little thing in the Target dollar section or whatever, just something a little bit valuable. I have like a lot of moms that follow me, or a lot of camper people now with our camper. So it'll be like here's how we like hacked this light that's not created for a lamper and whatever, or a camper. And anyway, yeah, in a sense, it's my Instagram, but at the same time, it's for everyone else too. So every once in a while, I'll slip something in that I just want popping up in my memories later. But for the most part, it's, this was really helpful for people and I got a lot of feedback. So let's do this again. Like yesterday, I shared a ring cleaner that is like it's like the coolest thing, the most swipe ups I've gotten in a long time. And it's just a little thing that you clean your jewelry with. And so you walk them through and you're like, oh, here's a new ring to clean and whatever. So just something kind of valuable, but also fun, really lighthearted, nothing super crazy serious. Um, that's my whole lifestyle Instagram grid.
I love when you share products because I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. That's cool. And it's
Yeah.
helpful to have someone that, is similar to you that's finding these things that are helpful to them. And so keep it
Thank
up.
you.
Love it.
Every time she posts
Thanks.
something about Target, it sells out. It's hurtful.
Oh, funny.
So, Nicole, you've been making a ton of reels lately, and it's so fun to watch. So, can you share some things that seem to really be working and maybe things that you've tried that didn't work so well? And then also, is there a difference between TikTok content and Reels content?
Oh gosh, yeah. With the users, the type of content, it's a humbling experience. I will tell you what, right off the bat. Um, so a big thing that I learned with just trying to switch over from what I knew as just taking a photo and posting it on Instagram. Like as a photographer, I'm not a videographer. I don't know what to do about that. But after being on TikTok for a while, just kind of monkey see, monkey do, I realized you don't need to bust out like a $4,000 setup. Like that doesn't matter. When you're creating content for video, especially as someone who either A, wants to educate, has product, like you name it, you got to think about entertainment first before education. All right. Or even advertising, you name it. Because once you entertain them, by the time that you do have something that you really want them to listen to, they already have your attention. If it's constantly like an ad after that ad, it comes to a point where people are just like, if I wanted ads back to back, I would have just scrolled through my Instagram stories or gone to Facebook or something, because those are actually like triggered based off of like what they were searching for. So when I started doing videos, it was, yes, a humbling experience because I, like anyone else, hated it. I hated it. I did not want to write scripts. I didn't want to basically have to get ready and then jump in front of a camera and then have to sit there and edit for like 3 hours. It's a weird dance, but after doing it for a while, it just snaps right in. It's muscle memory. It's super easy. You get the confidence. And then that's when you realize that, like, you have learned not just a new skill, but an incredibly valuable skill that is how a lot of media products, you name it, is being marketed now. With those kind of videos and such, I've seen a super crazy increase of not just like new followers, but I would say, like engagement, the type of engagement. I would see my original audience start to do this thing where, and this is another humbling experience, they would flip. So the people who did like videos and this kind of entertainment and was looking for like reels and Instagram stories, they would follow me or they would stay. The people who just wasn't interested, and that's totally fine. If that's not your vibe, I get it. There's no hard feelings. They started to leave. So then you would see this crazy transition where in 1 month I gained 500 followers and then I also lost 400. So I'm like, it's going to be in the first few months you'll finally get the right audience, but like when you start that new transition, it is something that like people are going to just decide whether or not they're interested. But when they are, it's so valuable because those are the kind of people that interact, that watch through the whole video, that share it, put it on their stories. And the great part about making one video, there's like 5 different locations and possibilities for someone else to see it. So this is how I started off. I posted on TikTok because I like their sounds and sometimes their effects. And then I screen record it and post it on my Instagram. But I get to use like 3 different locations for people to see them, which is my feed, my Instagram Reels feed, and then my story as well. And then if I really want to go further, I will post it on my Facebook page. If I want to go further than that, I'll reshare it to my personal page. So there's so many opportunities in just one video. So it really, for me, served more of a very intentional and very like rich content purpose than it did just posting a photo.
So I think, you know, speaking of losing some followers, like you're really honing who your audience is. And through
Oh
your
gosh.
videos, you're able to share your true personality and who you are. And then the people who are attracted to that, like those are the people that are going to stick with you. So I would, yes, recommend people like don't worry about some people dropping off. They're not your people, and that's okay.
Oh yeah. Oh no, and then it's so nice because the people who are all following you for your videos are the people who are very engaged. They're not doing it passively. They're doing it because they're looking for more from you.
That's awesome. So Danielle, I want to talk about influencers. So as a micro influencer, is it feasible for small businesses to work with influencers on some scale? Do you have to have a big budget to reach out to influencers?
Yeah, I think that's kind of, I have two answers to it. So yes, absolutely, as a small business, you can work with influencers even if your budget is limited. But I think you also have to be realistic about investing when it seems appropriate. If you find the perfect influencer and they are going to charge X dollars, it might be worth it for you because influencer marketing is super powerful. If you do want to collaborate with influencers on a more product trade basis or something like that, I would definitely recommend having a relationship with them online at least before you reach out to them. Otherwise, it's just, here, I like your feed, I want you to put your product in it, which maybe works if they're excited about your product. But the times that I've shared content for brands on my personal page for free is when I feel like I'm connected to either the founder or the social media manager behind the brand, or I really align my personal brand with their brand. So I think definitely having a relationship before you go about that is super important, and not sending out any like blanket messages that you're sending to a bunch of influencers hoping someone says yes to post something. I think I'm the most flattered when they say, we're asking you to promote this because we see you as an expert in this category, or your followers are exactly who we want to attract our product to. So I think just like the more transparent and like vulnerable you can be with the creator that you're trying to collaborate with, chances are they're going to make better content at a more affordable price point because it also helps their personal brand. But on the other side of things, I do think it's worth maybe working with less influencers and paying the ones that really, really count. So if that individual just has like basically your voice, but like personified into them, I think it's worth paying them for it, just like how you'd pay for anything for your business. Like if you're gonna pay for an Instagram ad, you're gonna pay a photographer, you might even pay somebody to run your social media for you. I don't think it's any different. And unfortunately, social media kind of falls in this category that it's easy work or it's free work, or everybody has an Instagram or everyone has a Facebook, or it's easy for influencers to just whip out content. And if it does look easy, that's probably a compliment that it looks so effortless and breezy that these influencers are able to spit out content and things like that. But there's so much work that goes into it. And that individual probably has spent years building up their following, even if it is small. I personally believe that I think micro influencers are more valuable than bigger influencers because people trust their friends and family members when they say, I love this thing. Not as much if, I don't want to say anybody in particular, but if Kim Kardashian tells me to buy something and it's a sponsored post, I'm probably not going to trust it as much as if Laura, if you posted something and you're like, Danielle, you need this in your life. So I think, yeah, as far as like investment, I think influencers are absolutely worth the money. With everything though, I think it's a conversation. Influencers change their rates depending on how excited they are about your brand, how busy they are at that given moment. And so it's just worth a conversation, but I'd come from a genuine place if you do want to work with an influencer, because I don't know. I think it's just, it can get nasty between like brands and influencers, and it's a versus instead of a true collaboration. So that would be my advice. So yes, and you should work with influencers, I think.
So a question for all of you is, what strategies have worked for your business to turn followers into customers?
I would say being very personable, like not like a, when I say personable, I mean not like a faceless brand. Like the business owner or the employees, like you see them and then you start to recognize them. Like one of my favorite businesses is Your Day by Nicole. And I know their past employees, their current employees, and I look forward to seeing them every time they make it into posts about any new dresses coming in or about the owner and her like how her and her husband, she owns a dress shop, he owns a suit shop. Like it's a cute story and something to feel like have this kind of emotional tug to them.
I think having a clear path for people to take the next step is so crucial. Like as it was mentioned earlier this morning, like just mapping out that entire experience, not just what's happening on social media, but how does that play into the entire puzzle of your brand and the experience that people have going through it. Even if it's not, buy the thing, what call to action are you going to have in each post that you're posting?
Yeah.
If it's not buy now, it's going to be learn more, tell us what you think, share with a friend, like who else would be really excited about these sweet cabins that we just built, or maybe it's scheduling a free call, or just something to kind of get them moving to that next step. And for those of us who don't have that swipe up feature, there's using that link in bio phrase more than I want to, but it's just getting people to go to that next step and experience your brand at the place where they're going to convert into clients or customers.
I love that answer, Bailey. That was really good.
I would say, as hard as it is, just being consistent, even if you're not posting in your feed like every day, that's a lot of work. Pop in your stories, and I just like Nicole said, I love seeing behind the scenes of businesses. And I think everybody does. Everybody wants to see the face behind whoever's running it, and what you're doing. And I know like the consistency, and I'm thinking about my own Instagrams right now as I've fallen behind here in Florida, but I know like the consistency, as much work as it is worth it. So if you're not posting in your feed every day, say I'm posting 2 times, 3 times this week in my feed, and then I'm showing up in stories every day, if it's just to say hello, here's my Starbucks order today, whatever.
I love that. I feel, at least for me, maybe it's a little bit different because I'm not selling my own product, so I don't really have a clear call to action for them. But I do see myself as maybe a brand ambassador for that specific brand, and someone that can provide more context than maybe a brand will tell you, and hopefully an honest opinion as well. So I always invite people to DM me if they have questions about a brand, or why I choose to use it, or why I don't work with X brand, because I can have a true conversation and tell them my experience. And then give them the link in there, so I don't have to send them to a bio link or an affiliate account or something. So I think DMs and having true conversations is the most effective sales tool.
Danielle, you've helped me a lot with like brands that you really stand behind. So I have to credit you to that a ton.
Yay.
You're
That makes
very
me happy.
Literally the DMs is right.
Yeah, and I don't know, and that's a great way for me to connect with my audience as well. So yeah.
How important is a hashtag strategy?
Bethy, this one's for you.
Well, I don't know if it's for me. Very important, obviously. I do have a new app I'm using. I just know it by the color because I am a visual. Okay, hashtag expert hot pink with the hashtag and a heart inside of it right here, the middle one on the bottom. That's kind of what I've been trying recently, just to like research, and it is a paid app. I don't remember how much it is. But it's helped me at least to create sets and then track them. Like, okay, did this hashtag set go? Was it my hashtags? I don't know if it's been spoken about, but your insights, I'm assuming a lot of people know the insights, maybe not. But if you click on your insights, you can swipe down and see how many of your hashtags review, or how many people saw your post via your hashtags, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how you rate your hashtag set. I use around 15, and I don't use the same ones every day. So every once in a while, there will be like a huge amount of engagement on a post, and I'm like, well, what the heck? I go through and it's like, oh, you had thousands due to your hashtags. And then I will be like, well, save that set. That was great. And then I'll use it like a week later and it's like, you know, a couple thousand. I'm like, well, what on earth? So it's like one of those things, like, don't like pour hours into it, because as soon as you think you have it, you don't. But at least that app has helped me a little bit just to be able to track it a little better. Otherwise, I won't remember anything.
Honestly, for TikTok, hashtags, so when you're thinking about Instagram, you think about post first, your followers first, like where you can share it first. As for TikTok, you're thinking about like the content first, like your post, but then hashtags. Hashtags are so vital, important in the TikTok world. That's how people find each other. It is such a large culture. Literally, they have a page dedicated to hashtags and everything that's being tagged underneath there. When I was not as busy with all of our like brand growth such, and I was posting every single day and posting and using the hashtags. Because of that, you can see directly where in my, and I'm going to pull up my phone too, because I was doing that while Bethy was chatting. You could see where I hit my first million, and that was huge for me. I hit my first million views on my page, and that was due to hashtags, like the SEO, the like the opportunity where basically TikTok has taught like a lot more people that like this stuff matters, and here you're going to see direct results and almost instantaneously because of it.
How
I wish
about,
Instagram did that.
go ahead.
I just have a quick hashtag tip. I don't know if I actually have like a full strategy, but what I've used in the past that absolutely works is if you have a brand that you really want to work with, if you're an influencer or the other way around, you can see what hashtags they follow. And so I would use the hashtag that they follow in your post, because you're going to come up in their feed. So like that's like top tip. And usually brands maybe only follow like 3 of like their, you know, the content that really relates to their brand. So that's helpful on the business side and the influencer side, I feel like. So.
And then also
good.
another tip is I would avoid hashtags more than 1 million. I would avoid hashtags more than 1 million, especially 1 billion. You want to go kind of lower, because then you're going to have a higher chance of being seen, rather than like, you think calling to the thousands, now consider calling to the millions.
Yeah.
Once you kind of go down there a little bit, your chances get a lot higher, and then you see a lot of, as like a consumer, you see a lot of newer things jumping on there, and a lot of things that have just been widely used more because it kind of niches down.
Yeah, niche is better. I agree.
Mhm.
I want to ask one more question. We're already running out of time. Oh my goodness, it's gone so fast. I want to know what you think about long captions versus short captions.
From people that I'm super interested in and I've already invested with them, like say, like I follow Danielle, and Danielle just has something that like, she has a quick caption, I always read it. But if she has a long caption, I know there's a lot of heart behind it. So therefore, I am more likely to read it. For people who I don't really follow and I see a nice lengthy caption, I don't care too much. So it's like, for people that you're just kind of popping in and new, short caption, great. For people who've been following you forever, long caption, fantastic. A lot of my followers are very like OG followers. So therefore, a long caption is currently my favorite.
I say do a good.
I think of it like any writing. I think whatever you are trying to get across, if you can get it across in 2 sentences, great. If you can get it across in 8 sentences, then do that. I don't think there's a perfect like formula to that necessarily. It's just, what are you trying to tell people?
Yeah, I was going to say there's a time and a place for both, and I am like the queen of long captions. And I know that that drives people crazy sometimes, but again, it comes back to that storytelling piece. Like, if you have a compelling hook at the beginning that you're going to like draw people into that story, like no one's going to be like, oh, this is too long. They're just like, they're along for the ride with you. So as long as your visuals and your hook are compelling, I say go for it. Don't worry so much about that length.
Okay, one last thing I have to ask you. What is your biggest piece of Instagram advice for small businesses or marketers?
Just the easiest tip I can think of is to show up in your stories. I know everyone's terrified of showing your face and talking to your phone, but you'll get over it if you just make yourself do it for like a solid week. You'll get over it and it'll get easier. And once you hit that point, people can actually connect with you and they build that trust factor. So that's your homework, guys. Like show up in your stories and everybody will love it. I promise you, we're all going to probably not all DM you at once. Like don't hope for that, but it'll get there. It'll get there. Show your face.
Adding on to Elizabeth's, it's if you don't want to have yourself there the whole time, the biggest thing is what's most valuable is to start your Instagram story that day with your face. And then anything past that, great. But like it's like an immediate, I'm talking to you, and then here's the thing that I'm doing.
Love it. I would say a sense of playfulness is key. It's so easy to lose that when we get burnt out and we get stressed out about social media and like, how do we figure out this dang algorithm? And like, it's so easy to get in your head about it and like take the joy out of it, but just have fun with it. And I would say if you feel like stuck in that department, ask yourself, what would it take to make this fun? And maybe part of it is batching your content out and putting on some great tunes and just playing with those, those engagement stickers on stories and just figuring out ways to infuse simple fun into your process, because people know when you're having fun. They can tell it's contagious, and then they're going to want to join in and be a part of it.
That's exactly TikTok.
Personality.
Exactly TikTok.
Yeah.
I think Instagram has changed a lot too with just, people wanting to see normal life. And that's my favorite kind of content. I want to see all of your boring, mundane things on a daily
Yes.
basis. And I'm not as concerned about your trip to LA or whatever. I mean, those things are awesome too. But I'm just like nosy and I want to know everything about a daily life. So I would say consistency is definitely the best for growth, even if you're not talking about your lavish life every day. So,
Yes.
So many great tips. I want to thank you all for being here. I hope everyone has learned as much as I have. If you are not following these amazing women yet, I super recommend that you do. Find them on social. Their handles are in the packet. They are leading by example. So you can find all of that information. We can find all of the slide decks from today's presentations and some other fun digital goodies in the packets that we will send you in an email tomorrow. So the fun does not stop here though. We've got all kinds of great Lady Boss content and events coming up for all of you. And as I mentioned before, our biggest event of the year, the Lady Boss Summit, is coming up August 5th. So you want to save the date for that. More information will be coming out soon, but you can get your name on the list to receive all of the event updates at ladybossmidwest.com/summit. I'll also encourage you to sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter and check out the Lady Boss blog. We feature Midwest lady bosses who are doing incredible things, highlight news that you should know, and share career and marketing tips. So your brain might feel a little bit overloaded with all of this new information now, but I just want to remind all of you that you have got this. Thank you for joining us, and happy Friday and happy Women's History Month. We'll see all of you soon, Lady Bosses.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.